So we're here at Vondel Warzone 2 Season 4, and I have to give you guys the best possible meta loadouts. Now, these class setups are going to be amazing, and these are going to be things that people are going to try to use, but you're going to have the best possible builds and tuning. So make sure you guys pay attention to all the tuning, because otherwise you're not going to be playing to your full ability. So we're going to start out with one thing, but before we get into that, I'm giving away 3 battle passes in this video. All you guys have to do is like this video and comment your gamer tag to be a part of the giveaway. So starting out, we're putting on the Cronin Squall and using the Sack and Tread 40 for vertical recoil control and horizontal recoil control. You get a reduction of aim down sight speed and aiming stability, but that's not a big deal because we're going to be fixing all the cons in this entire video. So change the tuning for gun kick control to 0.28 inches and the recoil stabilization to 0.59 ounces. HR 6.8 barrel for damage range, bullet velocity, recoil control, and hip fire accuracy. Now, you're going to get a reduction of aim down sight speed, hip recoil control, and movement speed, but that's not a big deal. Change the tuning for damage range to 0.37 inches and the recoil steadiness to 0.39 pounds. Now, one thing I want to keep in mind is this has a very interesting recoil pattern, so you guys have to pay attention to how I handle it. 6.8 high velocity for bullet velocity at the cost of damage range, and tune the bullet velocity at 8.71 GR, damage range 0.50 G. 50 round drum unless you think you can handle the 30 round mag, in which you'll get more movement speed, aim down sight speed, reload quickness, and sprint to fire speed. Last but not least, the aim out V4. Set the tuning all the way to the right, and here's the end product. Now here's the beauty of this. This thing, like I said in just a second ago, this thing has a very interesting recoil pattern. It actually just showed a second ago. What it really does is it has a basically circular recoil pattern. So what I basically do to get this under control, and I'm going to show you guys right now, is this a small little tip. As you guys see, I had no recoil right there. And all you guys have to essentially do is tilt your thumbstick to the right, the bottom right slightly. So as you guys see how my gun's moving, when you're shooting, that's essentially how you need to tilt your gun. If you don't do that, this is what's going to happen long range. Now I'm going to actually put my sight right on the enemy and watch this. It's just going to bounce up. If I try to control the recoil, it's just going to go circular. So you need to make sure you have that recoil pattern down, or you're going to do very bad with this weapon. Next, we're moving on to the Meta LACHMANN sub, aka the MP5. This build right here has the lowest possible TTK, and you guys are going to be able to move very well. So put on the X10 RR40 for sound suppression, bullet velocity, damage range, and recoil smoothness at the cost of aim down sight speed and aiming stability. Now, I tuned this to 0.32 inches for bullet velocity and 0.90 ounces for recoil smoothness. MERC FOREGRIP for hip fire accuracy, recoil steadiness, hip recoil control, and aim walking steadiness at the cost of hip walking speed and aim down sight speed. Believe it or not, this underbarrel right here gives the MP5 the best possible recoil control. So I tuned the aim down sight speed to negative 0.28 inches and the hip walking speed to negative 0.54 ounces. 9mm overpressured for target flinch, and I tuned the bullet velocity of 4.94 GR and the damage range of 0.45 G. 40 round mag, just because I don't think 50 is necessary. I feel like when you put on 50, the cons actually outweigh the pros significantly, just because you're going to be way slower, your ADS is going to be way slower, sprint to fire speed is going to be way slower. I just don't think it's worth it. If you want to use 30 rounds, it's completely up to you, and you can just put something else on, but I think 40 is the sweet spot, especially considering the health increase. I think that this is what you're going to want to have on there. VLK laser 7MW for aim down sight speed, aiming stability, and sprint to fire speed at the cost of laser being visible in ADS. I don't think that's a big deal. I tuned the zeroing distance to negative 19.74 feet for aim down sight speed and the sprint to fire speed to negative 0.23 ounces. Just try to get as close as possible. I know some of these are going to be very hard to be exact, so just get as close as you possibly can and you'll still get the good effects. So for this thing is amazing short to medium range. The only downside is long range. You're going to have to burst fire just a little bit like I did right there, but like I said, keep this short to medium range and do a fantastic job. There's actually one more weapon that I do want to show you guys in the SMG category that will compete with this, but we're going to get to that later in the video. So this is the next set of amazing weapons you're going to see in Vondel, and it is the LACHMANN 5.56 and the MP7, which is the VEL 46. The reason you're going to see these is because these both have amazingly high fire rates and very little recoil. So starting out with the LACHMANN 5.56, you're throwing the Harbinger D20 for sound suppression, bullet velocity, damage range, and recoil smoothness at the cost of aim down sight speed, aiming stability, and aim walking speed. Set the tuning for bullet velocity at 0.55 inches and the recoil smoothness to 1.08 ounces. Remember, you can just get as close as possible if you can't be exactly there. 19.5 LACHMANN RAPP barrel for bullet velocity, damage range, recoil control, and hip fire accuracy. Don't tune the length, but tune the weight to 0.37 pounds. The reason I say not to tune the length is because it's actually not beneficial. I'll show you right now, it doesn't do much for the damage range, so you might as well just leave it alone. It's not really helpful, so it's in your best interest to basically not touch it, and I have eventually ruined it for myself. It's okay, I'm just kidding. But 5.56 high velocity for bullet velocity at the cost of some damage range. Set the tuning to 8.42 GR for bullet velocity and 0.59 G for damage range. 60 round mag, because in this game, in Vondel, you're going to have more health, so you're going to want to have as many bullets as possible. I don't think that 40 is going to be enough considering how fast this gun actually shoots. Now, put on the aim op v4 for the precision sight, and in my opinion, you should just set the far distance to maxed out. And here is the end product. This thing is honestly so good. And I already see people absolutely going crazy with this. If you don't use this weapon, you're probably going to be at a disadvantage if you're not using the Cronin or this, just because these are mainly the weapons you're going to see in gameplay. You're going to see this, and you're going to see the Cronin Squall. These things have such little recoil and do so much damage that if you're not using them, you'll be at a disadvantage. So the next thing I want to show you, like I said, is the Vel 46. The MP7 is absolutely amazing, and in my opinion, it's not going to take much effort to use, and it's going to be incredibly fast in the TTK region. So throw in the X10RR40 for sound suppression, bullet velocity, damage range, and recoil smoothness at the cost of aim down sight speed and aiming stability. Set the bullet velocity at 0.32 inches and do not change the weight. There are reasons I'm saying not to change the weight, because you're going to see another one where I say not to change the weight. Essentially, it's not going to help at all. Really, it's just if you change the recoil smoothness, it's not going to help with the recoil. And that's going to be a SCHLAGER L203 barrel for damage range, hip fire accuracy, and bullet velocity at the cost of aim down sight speed and hip recoil control. If you use some of these longer barrels, you're just going to move a lot slower, and it's not really going to be efficient because you're going to try to ADS and you're going to be moving like a turtle. So I increased the damage range to 0.30 inches and I did not change the weight. VLK laser 7 MW for aim down sight speed, aiming stability, and sprint to fire speed at the cost of laser being visible in ADS. Completely fine. Do not change the zeroing distance, but set the weight to negative 0.37 inches. Demo RXT stock for crouch movement speed, sprint speed, and aim down sight speed at the cost of some recoil control. Aiming stability at 1.70 inches and aim down sight speed at negative 1.42 ounces. Last but not least, a SCHLAGER soldier grip for sprint to fire speed and aim down sight speed at the cost of some recoil control. Set the sprint to fire speed to negative 0.20 inches and the aim down sight speed to negative 0.48 ounces. And here's the end product right here. It's absolutely beautiful. As you guys see, it doesn't take much effort to use. Only downside is long range, you're not going to do good. As I said, this is a short to medium range weapon. So if you want to have an overall weapon, you want to stick to the MP5. This is why I think that close range, and I specifically mean like close range, this thing is going to absolutely be dominant. So if you run into an MP5 player, you're probably going to absolutely melt them with the MP7. But if they have some distance on you, they might actually win the fight. So keep in mind whichever one you want to use and whatever type of player you are. The last thing I absolutely have to show you guys is the FENNEC, because it actually got buffed with this new update. So we're starting out with the ZLR 16.5 ignition barrel for damage range, bullet velocity, hip fire accuracy, and recoil control at the cost of aim down sight speed, hip recoil control, and movement speed. The tuning is 0.25 inches in damage range and 0.32 pounds in recoil steadiness. 0.45 auto pressured for no enemy skulls and target flinch. Increase the bullet velocity by 5.52 GR and the damage range at 0.25 G. FENNEC mag 45. FENNEC rubber grip for sprint to fire speed and aim down sight speed at the cost of recoil control. Tune the sprint to fire speed to negative 0.16 inches and the aim down sight speed to negative 0.68 ounces. Agile Assault 7 stock for sprint speed, aim walking speed, crouch movement speed, and aim down sight speed at the cost of aiming stability and recoil control. Aiming out stability to 2.40 inches and the aim down sight speed to negative 2.06 ounces. And this SMG, man, this SMG is beautiful. Look at this. Absolutely does the job. Long range, you're gonna have to burst fire, so be careful of that. But with the new update, this thing shreds close range, absolutely shreds.